I'll just keep admitting people as they come.
Yeah, so you got the admitting?
Yep, I'll do that part.
Okay, excellent. Excellent. Awesome. Awesome. How's everybody doing as you guys log in? Sorry about the link issue. For some reason, it wasn't able to connect us. And so, good response, everybody. Thank you so much for staying close to your communications and jumping on the new link. We appreciate it. Can you all hear me and see me okay? Give me a thumbs up or a high five. What's up, Joe?
What's up, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man. Some people logged in. We had a little bit of a technical issue, but it looks like people are getting the message. Very good job. Trying to figure out here. There we go. We the only ones with cameras this morning, Mr. Joe? What's going on here? No one wants to show themselves?
Yeah, I figured I might as well, you know. I got a new camera for the computer, so I might as well have it working.
Looks like we've got 11 people. Good morning, everybody. We're going to wait a few moments. We had a technical issue, and so some people happen to be redirected. We'll get started here in just a few minutes. Good morning, Marianne. About 5. Okay, we'll give it another moment. Yeah, people are popping in here. DJ, good to see you. Good morning. Bruce, Garrett, nice to see y'all. Mr. Banks, Sherry, thanks for joining us. I don't know who the 045 is, but good morning, Marianne. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, good
What's up, Ryan? How you doing, Ryan?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. I'm gonna shut my door here. I'm getting some feedback from Holly. Okay, we're getting up there, 13. We'll give it another couple minutes. Get people reconnected. Holly, how many people did we originally have registered?
There's 15 registered.
But it was sent out just via link. I mean, it could be more, right? Just maybe people who didn't register.
It could be. I only sent it to those who registered.
The link?
Yep, I can send it out again.
Thank you, Holly. Well, good morning, everybody. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Looks like everybody's pretty much doing it cameraless today. That's okay. Remember that there is a chat box, and we're trying to be able to get some communications out of today. As today is our safety forum. This is not a COVID update, even though if we get into that conversation, we can do so, but this is more of a industry safety topic. Today's a roundtable amongst the group so that we can take a look at 2021 and come up with a forum schedule. You know, what we'll do is we'll take a look at the next 2 months or the calendar that we have till the rest of the year here in 2020, and then we will talk amongst the group about what maybe your organization needs or something that you would like to see addressed when it comes to safety issues or safety practices or equipment or, you know, those types of topics. There are a few topics we do want to make sure that we hit every year. Okay, there's some few fundamental topics that we want to make sure that we check in with, and that is, and we'll get into all that. So that's really the goal for today, is for us to discuss the rest of the year and then put an initiative for the forums for 2021. But in the tradition of our safety committee or our safety forums, I first wanted to just welcome everybody. My name is Paul, the training director here at IEC Rocky Mountain. For those that are first-time joiners for our committee today, looks like we've got about 14 participants, or 13, including myself. We do have Holly in the background taking some notes for us, and she'll be helping us make sure we stay on track when it comes to the items we pick for 2021. We'll actually go through this process twice, where we'll shoot ideas around amongst the group. We'll jot them down, and then we'll shoot them down at the recap, or we'll throw them out there at the recap, and then decide per priority and which one has more sway of what to put on the calendar. Now, anything that we do today, as far as calendaring goes, even looking into the end of this year, is open to change. Okay, as we know right now, pivot is a word we're all practicing these days. So if we have to pivot our focus for the forum for something that is pertaining to something right now, we can do so. Okay, amongst this group. Also, when we come up with this list for next year, I'm going to need some help amongst the group. Maybe you all have some resources that I can help bring in as a forum or a subject matter expert, right? Even though on the electrical side, in a number of the areas, I've got a lot of contacts over here, but if you all have contacts and people you think would be a great presenter and can provide, say, a value-added safety topic for y'all's organizations, we definitely want to hear from you, okay? And see if we can align with you to make that resource work. But in the tradition, right, our safety committees run monthly, or our safety forums, if you will, run monthly. It's usually the last Wednesday of each month. I've already got the calendar broke down when we start that discussion. And these forums are generally, and they've been this way the last month, at 7:30 to say 8:30 to 9, however long we need to take it. It's been that way for years. So I do want to keep the same days and time frames as it's been on our calendars forever this way. And I don't want to have to worry about y'all having to readjust, you know, for anything else. So we're going to keep it moving forward on these days. But in the tradition of our committee, we usually get it started by welcoming everybody, saying hello, and talking about near misses. Okay, out there in the industry, some of y'all are safety professionals, and that's what you do for your organization. Some of y'all in this meeting wear multiple hats. Maybe you're part of a smaller contractor, or you're part of a smaller outfit, and you don't have a full-time safety person. So it's just one responsibility you may have. Having said that, you're going to see different aspects of safety. Okay, some people are behind the desk doing administrative controls, and some people are out there in the field administering engineering controls when it comes to safety. So while we're out there, we always want to pay attention and have a 360-degree view of what's going on. So normally we would start these up on near misses. You know, what have you seen out there in the industry, on your job sites, in the workplace, that could have been a catastrophe and maybe was prevented? Could have been a catastrophe and it was recognized, you know, or ended up a catastrophe. Anybody got anything you want to open the forum up? When you do go ahead and talk and stuff like that, make sure you announce yourself and the company you're with. And those, once again, please get involved with the chat, because a lot of y'all might not be able to chime in via your audio, but we do want to get your feedback when it comes to this scheduling and interaction within this forum and roundtable today. So let's start it up with that. For me here at IEC, the only thing I see is safety right now. I don't have any students here right now at the school, and so it's really administrative staff. So really, I haven't had many near misses other than we've been doing a lot of moving and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to pay attention to making sure you bend at the knees, things like that. Pulls, strains, and sprains are one of the #1 workman's comp issues out there in our industry. So make sure that, whenever you're doing stuff like that, that you're preparing yourself and you're doing it in a way, that's not going to injure yourself. So I really don't have any big near misses, but I just remind everybody to do that. Anybody got anything they've seen out there? Go ahead and chime in. It's open.
Yeah, so I'm Joe with McGee Electric. One of the things that I noticed on site, we're doing a lot of site like pole lights at a job site, and we had open trenches. And one of the guys was kind of close to the trench, and I kind of caved in a little bit. He didn't fall or anything, but he was close enough that dirt fell into the trench. So we talked about that and make sure that you're safe on that. And then also there were some caisson holes, and we made sure that we put caution tape around the holes, because just to make sure everybody knew that there was a hole there. People driving in and out of that construction site, we just made sure everything had caution tape. Which, you just do it right after they trench it, but that's another huge safety thing that sometimes gets missed, because you're like, oh yeah, everybody knows there's a pile of dirt, there's something there, but to mark it with caution tape and to do that's a big thing. But that'd be my near miss or story of the past month.
Yeah, those caisson holes, man, you don't want to fall down one of those. You don't want to do that, and then if you're starting to see your trench erode, right, while you're standing there, you make sure we get some barricades up, right, and some caution tape to say, to rope that area off if you can, good stuff, Joe. Thanks, man. Always something to pay attention to, sometimes we're so busy out here, we're not paying attention to where we're walking and things like that too. So it's not just identifying the hazard on the job site, it's paying attention to where we're walking, right? Making sure that we're navigating ourselves through that job site in a way that's avoiding any obstacle, so very cool. Anybody else out there got any near misses or things like that you've recognized out there and saw it could have been a potential hazard or turned out to be one? OSHA's not in the house today, you guys. You guys can go ahead and just open up. We can talk about it. A lot of safety professionals in here too. That safety is what y'all do. And so if there's anything you wanted to talk about, you don't have to give names or anything. No more near misses, huh? Well, wait a second here. Are you getting anything in the chat? You guys see there's a chat here. Well, let's do this. I want to make sure that you all have an opportunity to speak. So as we start moving into the calendar and scheduling for 2021, before we jump into that conversation, is there anything or any questions anybody has before we get going? Anybody? Joe, you ready to go? Ryan? You're the only two I can really see. So
us being a software company, not too many near misses. We're moving some office furniture around and things like that a bit, but yeah, bending at the knees, doing those kind of common practices when you are moving some stuff. But yeah, on our end, nothing too dangerous. Hopefully, most of the time. We've got a bunch of people traveling for training now, so obviously the COVID issues and everything else that goes into that, but we're kind of all in the same boat if we try to travel anywhere these days.
Yeah, and if this is that's a good point, Ryan, too. You brought up, right now we're all dealing with safety people and professionals, not even safety people, right? Your entire office and the entire staff is dealing with COVID issues right now. And it's affecting us all differently. We think that, we're all in here wearing masks and sanitizing and distancing, but it's a whole different world, when it comes to dealing with what people have to go through at home. And right now there's kids at home in school and just so many different things going on that lots of readjustments, in multiple areas. But if you guys want to talk about what you guys need to do, or you have any questions when it comes to safety and COVID, we can address those too. And maybe that's something as we look at the remaining calendar for 2020, we can get into the mix. So let's start talking about the 2020 calendar. Okay, right now on schedule for 2020, I'm showing 2 more safety forums. Okay, one in October 28th, and then the next one will be December 9th. And the reason why they're not the last Wednesday of the month on these 2 specific months is because of the holiday schedules. And we have found in the past that it's better to knock them out as early as we can in the months of, at least the month of December. We eliminated November altogether this year. So it's October 29th and December 9th of 2020 are our next dates. For October 28th, we start talking about winter preparedness, okay, for your office, when it comes to your fleet vehicles, when it comes to just different things we have to pay attention when it comes to the colder weather. You know, a lot of job sites start using gas operated, you know, heat jets, and a lot of different things, a lot of stuff we've got to pay attention to when it comes to the winter months. And so we want to get into that conversation and make sure that we're handling the temperatures in a safe way. And then at the end of the year, December 9th, it looks like we've got pre-accident investigations. Okay, and we would probably bring in OSHA for that, where we would bring in an OSHA SME, and they would talk about you know, different things or different administrative tools we can use for pre-accident investigations, you know, and get some stats and get some, you know, like I said, best practices from them. We do bring in OSHA quite a bit, okay, when it comes to our forum topics, as they are the standard. And so, but not to worry, you know, they come in here for, you know, full-hearted, wanting to get the information out. They're not in here doing any audits at all. At the end of the day, OSHA is here to help everybody as well. So those are the 2 remaining schedules for this year. So winter preparedness, and then pre-accident investigations leading into 2021. I am open to the adjustments for the October 28th or the December 9th if we want to cover, let's say, COVID update or COVID best strategies. If we want to change the thing, I think we're all kind of COVIDed out when it comes to all the different meetings and things like that. I think at this stage of the game, I think we're all pretty, I mean, with what information we have, we're informed on it, you know what I mean? And so, but if we're open to doing that, we can do that. But if there's no objection, I'm going to keep the calendar as is for the remainder of the year, unless there's anybody that wants to discuss, or if there's any immediate safety need that you'd like to take a look at, and we can bring in an expert on. Definitely let us know. Joe, Ryan, and anybody out there connected, let me know. Get into the chat or just chime in, unmute, and we can start talking about things for the rest of 2020. As we get into 21, like I said, there are some that we want to keep on schedule, you know, each year, but I'm looking at just 2020 right now. Any ideas? Any rebuttals? Keep it on schedule?
Keep it on schedule. Oh, that sounds good to me.
Keep it on schedule?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
just keep it on.
Let's keep it on. Excellent. Okay. All right. I haven't heard. So that's 3. I'm 4. I think Holly's 5. I think we are. How many do we got so far? 14. So anybody else? We good with that then? So we will keep Wednesday, October 28th for winter preparedness, and then December 9th for pre-accident investigations, and I'll see if I can bring in OSHA for that. Okay, so we'll keep that on schedule. Looking at 2021, okay, I could try to get a meeting in 2021 in November, but like I said, in the past, it tends to be the one that there's almost 0 participation in, and it's really hard kind of to get a subject matter expert in during, say, the last couple of weeks of November because of the holiday schedules. People are out. And all of this plan, right, is assuming that, you know, we can actually meet and get these subject matter experts because of the COVID issues. But these are, there are a few things that we want to keep on schedule, but I am voting, and if the team wants to talk about it, I'm voting that we keep the November committee meeting or forum meeting scratched for 2021, just so that we're not worried about issues with getting a facilitator, a subject matter expert, or participants. Anybody want to chime in on that? No, nobody's ringing in here. All right, well, I am going to go ahead and eliminate. If we did have it, it would have been, because of the holiday schedule, it would have been November 17th of 2021, but it is no longer. So we will delete that. Okay, looking at 2021, like I said, there are a few things we do want to make sure that we bring in every year as a touch base, okay? And then I also had some other ideas for the group when it's just some great resource information. And we don't have to bring them in, but so there's some things that I already had in mind for 2021. First thing we want to make sure we cover in 2021 or early 2021 is we want to do an OSHA update, okay? We want to bring OSHA in to kind of take a look at any standard that they have put into place in the past and get a trend on adherence to that, as well as what they may see coming in if they're looking to do a crystal ball. What are some of the things they're seeing as far as standards go looking forward? It's important that we are all up to date on what the OSHA standards are so that we are adhering to them. So, and plus it's a great, the people we bring in from OSHA, and that's John Olachea, he gives great information. He gives you great resources. He's never going to leave you hanging. He's been part of our group for years. And so we want to make sure within the early part of 2021, we bring in OSHA. Another idea I had that I'd really like to bring in for resources, and I'm not sure how much y'all are familiar with Underwriters Laboratories, or UL. I definitely want to bring in UL to talk about product listing and some of the safety check boxes they go through when it comes to equipment, either that's manufactured equipment or on job site UL stamping, things like that. It's important we do that. They have to do that with a lot of stuff, and a lot of our industry has to deal with that. And so I'd like to bring in Tyson Long with UL sometime next year. We always do, with the exception of 2020. Okay, looking at another thing that we need to keep on schedule is a facility or job site tour. In the past, we've done so many different job site or facility tours that I want to keep it interesting. You know, we've done stadiums, we've done, we did the Gaylord, we did the Union Station. We've done a number of those things where we take a look as an industry or a safety, or as safety professionals, how people are dealing with safety on a huge scale, right? Like stadium safety, right? Huge job site safety and zoning. Union Station, like I said, safety that they have to deal with there. So let's keep that on the calendar. I'm hoping that we'll be able to start doing that stuff again next year for the facility tour. We definitely need to schedule sometime next year, right? The 2022 scheduling roundtable like we're doing today. Normally we have it in August. It got pushed to September because of the next topic I think is important that we cover each year, and that is mental health. And that is making sure that we're doing our own checks, we're checking on our teams out there, and then we can identify maybe some things that our workforce and stuff like that are going through on a mental health basis. You know, how is your team doing really, you know what I mean? Getting into those type of conversations and making sure that everybody's checking out good. So mental health is also really important. We covered that I believe it was last month on our safety forum was the mental health. And it was a good forum. I believe that's the last one we did. But those are the 5 things that I had put on kind of my list as I would like to see for 2021. Anybody have any objections to those? And if we did have any, or if we don't, I think that we would want to handle an OSHA update earlier in the year. Like I said, maybe we schedule that in just for availability. We schedule OSHA in say, we could start the year off with them. Let's start the year off with an OSHA update in January. That way we're up to speed with, like I said, what they've seen in 2020 and what they foresee for 2021. Is that cool? We keep OSHA update at the beginning of the year. That way we're up to speed. Any objections, go ahead and get it into the chat, okay? So we'll do that in that first date, and we'll send this all out in communications. Like I said, Holly, she does such a great job on the backdrop here. She'll be taking notes for us today and sending out kind of the minutes and objectives and the schedule after we hash it out today. So the first date will be January 27th, 2021, and we will bring in OSHA. Let's go ahead and place the 2020 scheduling roundtable just like we're doing today. Let's go ahead and place that back to where it was originally scheduled, and I'm going to do that in August, okay? If there's no objection to that, that still gives me plenty of time to try and make contacts from August to the end of the year to come up with, or contact, right, 2022 people. So that's why we try and do it in August. It gives me a little bit of time to connect. No objection. It goes down August 25th, 2021. Mental health. I find doing the trends and the number of mental health sessions that we have, we really start seeing a spike in those mental health situations, okay? And I don't want to get into too much detail, but we start seeing that people are starting to feel heavy right around the holiday time. Okay, it's either early spring or it's starting to get into the holiday months. Okay, so I think that doing a good mental health and employee check, how you really, type of conversation, I would like to schedule it as close as we had it this year. So we did it last month, so maybe in September of next year we cover mental health as we just start getting into the fall and holiday seasons. If there's no objection to that, I'd like to keep mental health, and we don't have to have mental health if you all don't want to. But I think it's an important topic that we're mindful of. We can kind of lose track on how we're doing really right and all the adjustments. And like I said, how's our team dealing with things right now? So any objection? You guys are making it so easy on me today. I'm telling you, I'm just shooting stuff out and you guys are going, sure, go ahead. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so we will do that. We will move the mental health then to September. And that would be September 29th of 2021. How about Underwriters Laboratories? There's a lot of cool resources. Tyson Long is my connection over there, and I don't know if you guys use it or not. It's called the UL White Book. It's quite the amazing resource book because what it does is it will give a number, right? It's a code book technically, so it's a great read, but it's a great reference book, okay? So if you take a look at it, it will tell you every UL listed product, and you can go online and at ul.com as well, but it'll give a number to every UL listed product and collate it to its correct electrical code installation practice, which is awesome. So if like inspections, things like that, you can say, here's the UL recommended code article and installation practice. So it's a great resource. UL also, like I said, they have to go out there in the field and field stamp UL UL listing. So it's a great conversation. It's a good resource. Tyson Long, he's a great communicator. So I would like to put that on next year as well. We did not bring in UL this year, but I certainly would like to bring him back into the mix. We've had him in the past, but I'd like to bring him. He does a number of stuff for our apprenticeship community here too at IEC Rocky Mountain. So I'm thinking about availability for Tyson. So I would say, let's do that. I'd say within the first or second quarter of the year. Let's start him out at the beginning of the second quarter, and let's put him in April. April 28th, we'll bring in Tyson, along with UL. Any objections to that?
That'll be a good one.
Who's that?
Hey man, that's DJ. That'll be a
Hey,
good
what's
one.
up, DJ?
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well, my friend. Thanks for chiming in, man. What were you saying, DJ?
No, that'll be a great one with UL. I spent quite a bit of time in that white book, just from being a manufacturer. We gotta pay attention to what the UL rules are, and then that white book's just a huge amount of information in there. But it's helpful when you're hearing what the inspectors have to say, and from assemblies that you're field making.
Yeah, it's a dry read, but man, it is a great reference. It's not something you're going to go, I'm going to pick up that book, but if you ever needed it, it is a good reference. So yeah, cool, DJ. So we'll do that in April then, brother. Is that cool with you?
Yeah, it's good with me.
Okay, we'll do that in April. Let's see, job site facility tour. We normally do that every July. Because usually when it comes to sports and a lot of the sports stuff like that, if we did a stadium or something like that, that's also when big job site work is going on. So it's easier for me to make a connection to get onto a job site. And so if there's no objection, I'd like to keep that in July. Is that cool?
That's good.
What did Garrett, what did you have to say? I didn't get it. Oh, that's a good idea. When the stock show project, yeah. Let me see if I can make a connection on that. Now the facility job site tour, it is always open to change, okay? Because sometimes I can make an arrangement with a stadium or a job site or something like that, and I try and arrange them as early as possible. When it comes to date, sometimes sometimes they have to change. So I'm down for that. So let's just keep the date right now for the facility job site tour, but let's keep our mind open as we move forward on where that wants to be. If project opens up, things like that, maybe we don't put location on the tour, but let's put that date on calendar. And we're going to do that July 28th of 2021. And that, I want to thank you all. You guys took all 5 of my suggestions, so well, I didn't hear any objection from the group that are tapped in. But we have right now, so that leaves us now, handling that 5. That leaves us with 6 forum topics. Okay, so let's discuss that. What is it? As we take a look at our organizations and our teams, or what we're seeing out there in our respective industry, what are some areas we need to touch up on safety in? What are some areas that either we need to touch up or we could use another resource in, So let's get into that topic discussion. I don't know how many people can chime in, but let's talk about some ideas. Some, like I said, some of the other things we've done in the past that we've brought in that might help out with some suggestions for topics for next year. I don't want to be redundant, but sometimes that's what safety is, right? It's being redundant. It's being consistent. It's being persistent, right? When it comes to a message of safety. So sometimes having the same thing scheduled each year is a good thing. That's a good reminder for us. But let's talk about maybe, to start this off, some of the things we did this year and some of the other topics so that we can get some ideas of maybe what you might need. And so we did This year, it was on schedule. We did air quality and asbestos for job sites, making sure that we've got the right respirators, right, that we know what the air quality is and what the standard is for different type of airborne materials. So if that's something you would like to do and start doing air quality updates, we can talk about the best respirators, right? We can talk about, you know, different respirators for different needs. We can definitely do that. So we brought that in. We also did excavating and overhead power, right? So bringing in 811 and Excel Energy to talk about, you know, those cautions, what those procedures are and standards that they look at when it comes to that type of stuff, and locates, right? Making sure that that before we dig or before we do any aerial work, that we're aware of the hazards. So that's always a good one to bring in. Another one we could talk about, that's always a good one. And naturally, a lot of these are more electrically related. You know, I deal with the electrical industry, and maybe some of y'all in this meeting are in different areas of construction. So anything that I would be pitching out as good ideas is going to be electrically related. Okay, so just so you know. But I always like to talk in, and we can also bring in Excel Energy for this bit, and that's talking about your temporary and standby power. You know, a lot of us have to set temporary services and things like that. And it's called the Excel Blue Book. And they have a standard at which, you know, when you're setting up temporary power on a job site, different ways that you have to do that, that's safe. There's a whole protocol about it. And so I can bring them in to talk about that also, or I can bring them in to talk about that. So if Excel and talking about standby power, or if it's standby power, I might be bringing somebody else. But if we're talking about temporary services on job sites, I think that's a pretty important one. We haven't covered, I don't think, that in a while, temporary services. But I'd like to talk about there's a safety aspect about that. Jared, I'd love to see how to integrate temporary workers into contractors' safety expectations. Okay, especially around summertime when a ton of contractors have needs. And they're taking on multiple workers. Yeah, so good point. I think that, and then maybe we bring in, I guess it would be OSHA on that, Garrett, so that we could talk about who lies in responsibility when it comes to that individual worker's safety, whether that's the host company or the borrower company or whatever, the temporary company. I do see what you're saying, to ensure that when your temporary workers get on a job site, are they given a safety briefing, and are those administrative controls put into place to make sure that checkbox items are covered before they get into that scope of work? I think that would be good. I think that we could bring in OSHA for that, but I think ultimately the conversation about that, Garrett, would really be, and we can talk about this, and this is inter-office administrative controls, so that we can implement those administrative controls into our out in the field engineering controls, right? It's really the inter-office process that's responsible for that.
Yeah, I would agree, Paul. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah. I'm particularly talking about the relationship that has to exist between, you know, a staffing partner and the contractor in this area, because you'll see, you know, anywhere, if you ramp up with 60 guys, you know, within 2 weeks, are they really getting the safety training, or what's that relationship look like, and what are we responsible for versus them? I mean, ultimately, it's a collaborative effort. So, and we do have an entire presentation on that as well, if needed. So
do you have, Garrett, I'm sure over there with y'all over at X3, I'm sure you have, when you lend out, right, a worker, I'm sure you have a checkbox somewhere that safety briefings have been covered, right?
big time. Yeah, all of our clients have exactly what our guys have been trained on and things like that, but it goes far beyond that in my mind, right? It's site visits and inspecting and things like that.
Yeah, I think that we can definitely get into that. And I think for that discussion, We'll try and bring in as multiple contractors and stuff like that as we can. You know, I know that you lend out workers to everybody in the electric, at least to our people, right? So let's talk about that. If we want to do that, let's talk about the shared worker program or the temp worker program. Is that cool? Temporary worker responsibilities and safety. Let's do that. When do we want to do that? Earlier the better. We're open February and March, May, June, and then the latter part of the year.
For me, I would say May, June's where you're going to see your biggest spike going into summer with the people using and man share programs across the industry.
Let's do it. Let's do it May 26th. Cool.
Cool with me.
Sorry, jotting it down. Okay. Good one. That's a good one. I like that. That's always it's always good to make sure that we understand what we're sending our people into, especially if they're temporary workers, right? And as contractors, when you get temporary workers, right, you want them to be as safe as possible. You know what I mean? And so it'd be a good conversation as far as what checkbox items can be put into place. Maybe it's even like administrative control, like a JSA for the temporary worker or something like that. Maybe you have to add to that because, the first thing OSHA is going to ask you, is were they trained? Were they made aware of, right? All of those 5 W's, right? Who, what, when, where, why, and what, they're going to ask all of those. And so, yeah, we can do that. What other ideas that we got? That's a good one. Thank you, Jared. Anybody else in the chat? Let's see here. What else we got? Anybody else want to holler in? Joe, you got an idea?
Yeah, I got some ideas, Paul. We got I think fall protection should be discussed. It's just such an important topic, and it's always on the top of the most fatalities.
Yep, it is. And so let's get that as we start getting busier. Let's get that training down. Okay, let's do that in March then, my friend.
All right.
And let's do ladder and fall safety. Is that cool?
Yes.
Excellent. We got that scheduled for March 31st, unless anybody in the chat has a rebuttal to it. We're moving right along here. Let's see some of the other things that we've talked about. I always like to do a good air quality, right? I don't know how much you guys need any confined space training. That's something we could cover in about an hour. Anybody want to do anything like that? Yeah, we have a little bit of time we do have a little bit of time to brainstorm. Like I said, each one of these subject matters are scheduled to change. Right now we're just throwing down the suggestions that we have. And as we get more suggestions, we'll replace things on this list if we find that it would be a bigger value add. So let's still keep on with some ideas. Let me think here.
Hey, Paul, I have some ideas too. I know last year we talked about on lockout tagout. I think there's somebody that comes around in like a truck or something that does the training with lockout tagout. I can't remember. Somebody was talking about it last year at one of our safety forums, and I can't remember what it was, but I thought that'd be interesting to figure out if we do a lockout tagout and have somebody that trains on that. And,
yeah.
If I remember who the specific person was that does like that has a truck that comes in and does.
I think it's Encore. It was Encore that has the escape room.
Yes.
They have an escape room trailer. It's kind of got some electrical circuitry and stuff like that. I've never done this. I've seen it, but I haven't done it. Is there a lockout tagout in there issue or scenario?
I don't know. I for some reason I thought that was part of the discussion on that, but I could be mistaken. I've never done it either.
I can train lockout tagout. I've taught NFPA 70E multiple times. And I've taught electrical job site safety multiple times. And so if we want to cover a job site and lockout, tag out, or those type of safety things, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do that. That'd be a good one, I think.
Cool. And I'll just go ahead and facilitate that one. I'll put my name on that list. Let's come up with a date for that. Let's do it. Let's do that in October. Let's do that a year to date. Unless you want to see that earlier. I know that. I think ultimately let's do that when work starts picking up. That way we're cognizant of that. So maybe let's do that in February. Let's do that early.
Sounds good.
We can do that early. All right. Let's do electrical job site safety. Good morning. That's February 24th is when we'll do that. So that leaves us with 3 more topics. Come on, we can do it. Like I said, we can change it as we move along, but let's at least fill this last 3. Any other suggestions?
All right, I'll contribute something that I'm completely guilty of on a regular basis is anything to do with road safety. I'm on the road quite a bit, and I find myself checking an email or checking a text or making phone calls. So I don't know if it's something we can do, but that'd be one of my suggestions.
The driver and road safety.
Yeah.
Let's do it. We've done that before. What we'd probably do for that one is Federated has got a great package on that. I think Pinnacle's got a great package on that. A number of workman's comp companies have got great packages on that. So that one will be an easy one to do as well, DJ. I mean, that's an easy adjustment. So let's come up with a date for that. When's traffic the most? Let's do that in June. June we'll do driver distraction training and safety. Sound good? Do
that sounds about right.
Huh?
That sounds about right.
Cool. I'm going to call it driver distraction, right? When you see it on there, you'll know what it's about. Okay, 2 more going into the fall, right? So what are some areas, I think, as we move into the fall that we notice out there in our industry? Okay. I think always good, and it's usually good to do it early, but as we start getting into the winter months once again, right, we start getting into having to heat that job site. So I think that doing a winter job site heat awareness, right, when it comes to how we're heating that job site, what are the safety precautions we have to use when it comes to our fuel tanks, when it comes to those turbo heaters, equipment on or near around, right, that equipment, things like that. What are some of the signage we need? And how do we administrate administrative controls to make sure that that stuff is safe, and what engineering controls are used to ensure it is, right? So what do you all think about winter job site heating? Start that off in October, right? We start getting into the colder months. That way they're prepped for the latter months, moving through December and then into January. Any objections to that?
Sounds good to me.
Like I said, y'all are making it really easy, and it looks like we will be out of here at 8:30. You guys, wow. Good job, everybody. Okay, so we'll do that. So 10, 27, 21, we are going to do job site heating and signage / safety. And going into the last month of the year, next year, 12, 15, 21. I think what we should do 12, 15, 21, as long as all of our protocols are done, is we should throw a party. End of year safety get together. December, any ideas? Open to the group. Like I said, things that we've done in the past. Do we want to do a training on, I don't think I have it in there. Oh, we do have it in there. Or no, do we have anything in there? If we do, we want to cover a temporary service and bring in Excel or something like that. Do we want to cover standby power and the precautions needed for that? With two different subjects, you know, but two areas that we've done in the past that I thought were a good value add. We bring those into our students for training. We could also make sure that we're up to speed with 811 locate, right, and Excel when it comes to excavating. That's a good contact and a good refresher. We could also do an air quality once again. I'm open for anything. Any ideas? How about the chat? Anybody in the chat?
Yeah, well, I like the temp, the standby power. That's a good one. I was also thinking something like effective safety communication to like do just have a meeting on just
Administrative control stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm down for that. Yeah, doing administrative controls. Talk about JSAs. Talk about hot work permits. Talk about the measures you're taking in your interoffice policy. And
Yeah.
how are you getting that out, one, right to your people? We were just talking about temporary workers too, right? How do we make sure our administrative controls are in line with a safety expectation, right? I'm so open for that. Do you want to have that discussion? That would be, I think, more of a round table, Joe.
Yeah, round table.
We could talk amongst the group and come up with, or even develop our own. We already have JSAs and things like that we have here at IECRM. That we could develop as our own safety forum as an administrative control, or even show the reference. You can go print administrative controls right now. You know what I mean? Because there's some references, you can go find those. But I'm down for that. You want to do that? Administrative controls for safety, and we can talk about engineering controls too if we want to.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good one for December. Good round table.
Perfect. No way. No way is it 8/29. We've covered an entire year on a schedule, and we're not behind. Pretty crazy. Having said that, Joe, thank you so very much. And I don't see where you are. Popped up. But thank you all for the interaction. What we will do now that we've got kind of a scope on it, right? We'll go ahead and start reaching out to try and make these contacts. So we've got an SME for these things. And if you have any suggestions on who might be good to facilitate that, there's Ryan. If you got any great ideas, we'd love to hear from you, okay? I'm going to go ahead and pop my email address in the chat for everybody so that, or Holly, when you send out the communications, Holly is going to send out the communications on how to get a hold of all of us. So reach out to us. Let us know what you need. IECRM is here for you, and we want to make sure that the things that are top of mind and have an urgency for you, that we can help guide it and get a right resource for it. So let us know. We will type this up. We will send this calendar out. This calendar will be what we place for right now until somebody's got a better idea or, like I said, a direct need arises. And we're going to move forward. So if there's no other questions, I hope you guys have a safe and great rest of your week. And watch out for those near misses, okay? Because they're around us all the time, okay? And sometimes it's just somebody noticing something. and saying something, right? We're all responsible for safety. So make sure when you're out there, you see something, you say it. And address near misses. Say, hey, look, you know, if you wouldn't have done that, take a look at what would have happened. You know, put that perspective of for every inaction, there could be an action. You know what I mean? So, any questions, anything like that? Any last thoughts before we kick you all off onto your fine Wednesday? Anything?
Nope. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you so much for your interaction, man. Thanks for chiming in, my friend Joe. Always a pleasure. You guys take it easy out there, and you'll see communications coming out real soon. Garrett, thank you so much to everybody. DJ, Joe, Ryan, Mr. Banks, good to see you. The other guys, Mr. Baker, thanks so much for joining us. John Perlowitz, man, you know, it's always a pleasure to see you. You need to turn your camera on, my friend, so that we can, you know, we can connect where nobody sees that we're connected, my friend. So it's great to see you. There's John. What's up, man? Good to see you, my man. It's good to see you part of the group, brother. I can't hear you, John. You're on mute. Maybe you're not trying to be heard either, you know.
I'll try this again. It's good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Hey, I'm meaning to get a hold of your new contact for us here soon. What's his name again?
He is starting, I believe, this next week. I have not met him myself either yet, but he comes from our service side, so he should be extremely knowledgeable about tools. I think maybe we'll just send him out with a toolkit and have him fix stuff on site or something. But
hey.
Looking forward to meeting him as well.
Cool. Well, how have you been, man? How's Milwaukee safety going?
It's going good. Last couple months,